In 6, 5, 4, 3. Start my local. Check, check, check.
Yep, let me
Looks
do that as
good.
well. So recording, that one's on the H4. Yes, good. Hello, check, check, check.
Hello, internet.
Should be external and H4. Excellent.
Oh gosh, our search function is so bad right now on the website. Uh, I first hand rolled like this little simple Postgres search right years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then we switched to Algolia, and we've been on
Yep.
Algolia for many years. And then like last month, I decided to run a batch process that went through and fixed up a lot of cruft in our transcripts, which caused Algolia to re-index every transcript that
Oh,
we
and
have, which caused it to go over our indexing operations for the month. So our searches just stopped working.
oh
And so
no.
I basically created now a single toggle where I can switch back and forth between the Algolia search and our local Postgres search. And I need to toggle it back to Algolia because I'm using our local Postgres search, and it's not finding
Do
what
you
I've
do anything
found.
fancy with Algolia? Like, is there a reason not to, for example, host an Elasticsearch instance and do that? Or
Mm, there's no real reason besides inertia. Um, we do like full text search on our transcripts through Algolia, which I mean, of course, we could do with Elastic as well. Um, it's just like they're partners of ours back in the day, and they're like, "Here, use it," and so we started using it, kind of a thing, which happens with lots of websites, developer-focused websites.
totally.
So yeah, just inertia and like one less thing to think about. And we never hit the budget. We never hit the index threshold before until last month. So I need to toggle it back to Algolia because we're back. We've
It's
crossed
caught
the
up. We're
threshold.
fine. Yeah.
Totally. I
Mm.
just haven't actually toggled it back, and now I'm using it for the first time, and I'm like, oh, my local search is no bueno, no bueno. All right, we are live. I'm gonna put out a tweet and a message to our Slackers, and then we'll start.
Cool, cool.
What's funny is what I'm trying to find is our previous episode with Nick and I called HeadLIES. And I literally search HeadLIES in our search, and it finds 130 results. And none of them are that one. I mean, none of them on the first page is that
It
episode. Now,
it was JS Party.
yeah. Now, when I do it in my backend search, which is pretty much, I think, the same function calls, it finds it immediately.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Episode 170.
I got it. 170. Yeah. I cheated. I went to the admin and just like did a
Yeah, it's
in-page
like the admin
search.
search is better than the public search at the moment, even though they're using the same Postgres functionality. So I must be passing more metadata in the admin. Like I don't know, weird. So yeah, 170. Okay. Anyways, I'm a little bit out of breath. I probably will be as weird. So it's just two of us, and we're required to do a lot of talking today.
That's okay.
It's all
We're
good.
both big talkers, right?
Yeah, we can both handle this for sure, for sure. And a lot of it's me reading the headlines, so it's not gonna be like I have to be thinking. I'm just have to be. You're the one that has to be thinking. So
Yeah. No, this is fun. I'm excited to be put on the spot. I love that type of,
yeah,
improv, quick
totally.
thinking.
Yep. All right, let's begin. Hey, hey, hey! It is JS party time, and I am your internet friend, Jared. I have with me one of my good friends. It's KBall. What's up, man?
Hello. Good to be back on, and I'm excited for this game we're going to play.
I'm excited as well. Now, let me ask you a question, KBall. Do you believe in deja vu?
I think it's a human phenomenon. We notice things. It feels like, oh, we've seen this before, but like, yeah,
What it actually is? Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
it
I mean,
actually is.
it's part of our brain, right? Like,
That's true. It's in there. It's in there
it's
somewhere.
in
Well, I'm having
there.
a little bit. I ask because I'm having a little bit of deja vu right now. Let me tell you. A year ago, right around April Fools, we did a JS Party episode, just myself and Nick, and I invented this silly game called HeadLIES. where I tested Nick's ability to detect what is truth and what is falsehood in headlines around the web. And here we are today. It's just you and I. It's April Fool's tomorrow as we record, last week as we ship. And we're going to play that same game. So, in honor of me giving Nick a gift that day, I thought I would give you the same gift. And this is for you. This is for you, K-Ball. Just me and you.
Okay, I'll take
Oh,
it.
you couldn't hear that.
No, not in the
Son of a
slightest.
gun. I did the old.
I saw you doing a little dance, and I'm
I did the
like,
same
okay,
thing that we had that everybody does when they're noobs. I didn't go live. Let's start again, and I will play it back so that you can feel it.
okay, okay. And then I got
But
to
we'll
know how
use.
Nick actually did, so that I know where's the bar.
Okay. So let me try that again. Hold on a second. Go away. We're on the air. Thank you, kiddos. This is starting off swimmingly. Here we go.
Mini me, you complete.
Now do you get it?
Yeah.
Now he's into it.
Just me, yeah. Just me.
I dig it. Yeah,
You'll notice I.
it worked a little better when it wasn't just you bopping over there and me just hearing
You're
silence.
like, why
Right?
is he? Why is he popping his head? You'll notice I used the Doctor Evil version, not the official Will Smith version, due to recent events. I'm way more on Doctor Evil's side this week than Sir Smacks a lot.
And you weren't before.
I've always been a Doctor Evil fan, so yeah, absolutely. Well, it is just the two of us. But before we get into my silly game, and I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure I didn't go back and listen. I'm pretty sure Nick lost. I can't remember by how much, but I remember rubbing it in quite a bit. And so you can expect that in your future as well,
Okay.
unless you are a better lie detector than
Having
me.
planned
See.
the game, you may have your finger on the scale a little bit there. You know,
Well,
favors the
the deal
house.
is okay. We'll see. The house does usually win. We'll see what happens. Before we get into the headlines, let's talk about some headlines, just so folks have some actionable informational takeaways from this episode. And the first one we want to discuss is brand new, finally released. It was in release candidate for a while, but out there in the wild just as of a couple days ago. React 18.
Yes.
Now I know
Well,
you
this
guys use
is
React at Humu, right?
we do. Yeah, we use React. Actually, my manager, our head of engineering, used to lead the React team. So we have kind of the inside track to what are the best things to do with React. But yeah, this is an interesting release because I feel like on the one hand, it's like contains stuff that they've been talking about for almost 5 years now, like a long time. They've been talking about concurrent rendering and how do we do this and suspense
Right.
and yada, yada, yada. And on the other hand, like I was reading through their release and they're like, yeah, this probably won't affect you right away. You know, frameworks are going to pick it up and it'll happen behind the scenes. But like the short term impact, you'll probably stay with what you've been doing.
Right. So, where the rubber hits the road in a production app, what version of React are you all on?
Ha. We are currently on the latest 16. We were talking about updating to 17. We're still EOLing IE 11, so we can't get to 18 quite yet because it doesn't support
Okay.
it. We've been talking about, they say we'll do best guess effort to keep IE 11 working, but we're not going to officially support it. And so we're kind of asking ourselves, how lucky do we feel? But I think we're very close on the last few big enterprise customers that are still using IE, getting them off of that. And so I think we'll probably stay on, go to 17 until we get them off and then move up to 18.
Very good. So for those who are not in the know and don't have one of the old core team members, heading up their company, haven't been paying attention to React 18. So from the release notes, the big headline features out of the box improvements like automatic batching. They have new APIs like start transition, streaming, server side rendering with support for suspense, and then the concurrent stuff, which like you said, has been in the works for a very long time and is really kind of like a fundamental change to the way React works under the hood, and one that they want you to know about. So it's kind of an interesting thing where it's like it's under the hood, you're going to benefit from it, but it's not one of these things that's like black box, don't worry about it. It's kind of like, well, you should kind of understand how React is working in this new way. And so it's not I don't know if it's a leaky abstraction, but it's like a purposefully leaky abstraction. Is that, you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because I think there's, if I'm reading what they're saying right, they're saying like this is complicated. It's something that you probably don't want to be managing as an application developer, but it's something that is going to subtly change the way things behave, and that frameworks are going, and libraries and things are going to increasingly take advantage of. And so you should understand what it's doing behind the scenes. So if you run into one of those subtle changes, or you run into a bug due to one of those subtle changes, you can debug it.
Right. So just curious, when you said you have EOL IE11, how, I mean, do you have a countdown timer to the day, or when is the day that you can finally drop that sucker?
Well, so I think Microsoft has said June 15, 2020. That's what Nick just
2020,
shared again in the
that's
chat.
in the past,
Sorry,
brother.
2022.
Okay.
2022. I misspoke. June 15th, 2022.
So we're
Now,
like a couple months away from that.
we're a couple months away from that. Now, of course, when you have Fortune 500 enterprises paying you millions of dollars, and
They're not
they
going to
say,
drop it on June 15th
well,
of 2022.
we still want it, then you say, okay, well, how do we, move you along? And so I actually don't know off the top of my head what our internal date is. As much as we're trying to use Microsoft's EOL as a kludge to get everybody off of it, like the reality is customers do in some senses have the final say, but it should be close to that time frame.
All right. Well, looking forward to close to June. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there waiting for this one to officially drop so they can eventually drop. Anything else to say about React 18 before we go to the next headline?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think the automatic batching will probably help in a number of places. One other thing I did
That's a
see that I
performance
thought was
concern mostly, right?
performance concern. Yep. So, and actually, a lot of concurrent. Like, it's not really about
New features.
functionality, new
Right.
features. It's about smoother abilities to, for example, make big updates without interrupting your main thread. So as people move to concurrent rendering, you're less likely to have the situation where like I'm typing and there's a big change in my input changes. So like type ahead search, for example, if you have type ahead search that's rendering a whole bunch of new results, you do that. If you're not careful today, you can do that and your like type ahead freezes periodically as it re-renders those results. Concurrent should make it really easy to not have that be a problem. So I think it's a really useful kind of tool for making things better without changing any sort of fundamental model of how you're approaching things.
So in the chat room, Ogabe has a question regarding IE11. Maybe you can field this one. I don't know exactly the answer. He says when we can drop that, we can basically drop the old Safari, Firefox, and Chrome versions too, which means Webpack won't be necessary anymore? Question mark.
Ooh.
What do you think about that? That's probably kind of a it depends.
Yeah, it's very much and it depends. So there's a couple pieces to that question, right? So there's, can we natively use ES modules and not have to bundle things at all?
Right.
And actually, generally from what I've gathered, folks are still kind of recommending bundling for maximum performance in a lot of situations, even if behind the scenes you're loading, for example, your sub bundles with ES modules. Having everything split out entirely, I think is not still the sort of happy path there. That
Which
said,
was kind
I
of
think
the promise of H2, right? It was like we wouldn't have to do that for peak performance anymore, but it just seems like it never really came to fruition.
yeah, and it's like mostly there.
Right.
And if you're not doing too many modules, you're doing things pretty simple, you could probably get away with it. If you're, generally you have a good performance budget and you're not shipping that much JavaScript, you could probably get away with it. But I suspect people are still going to want to be bundling for peak performance in production for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. especially if they're already using TypeScript or other tools. If they already have that build step, then it's like, well, Webpack is giving me this, but also it's giving me that and this other thing that I like to
Yeah.
use as
Though
well.
the other thing you can do, and what something that we shifted to, is use Vite, which on in development uses straight ES modules and is way faster. Like the dynamic update and all of that is so much faster than with Webpack. And then it bundles things with rollup, and you can use the same config to do your local dev using ES modules served straight, super lightning fast, then bundle for production using rollup from the same config and ship everything out. That is, we shifted to that, I don't know, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and it has massively improved our developer experience over Webpack. So if you have a very large application and your local Webpack, recompile times and things like that are annoying and painful, definitely look at migrating to Vite. It was not a drop-in migration for us. Now we had a pretty custom config. If you're using a Webpack config pretty much directly from like create React app or something like that, there's probably an easy migration script. But if you have a pretty custom Webpack config, then yeah, you may have to do some work. But it's been a massive developer experience improvement to shift to Vite. And yes, Vite, pronounced Vite, it's from French. It, I believe, means fast, and
Correct.
it is.
Yeah. Yes, Vite rhymes with sweet is my way of remembering it. Nick Neesey says Vite rhymes with feet. I'm like, that's just gross, dude. Why not go sweet? Why you gotta go to the feet immediately? Well, speaking to the older versions, I think Ogabe's point that we both missed on was that, well, those are auto updating. Like IE11 is kind of the last holdout, and with like official ES module support, it seems like IE11 is the last big red on can I use that people are still probably using. Like I don't think anyone's really stuck on an old Safari unless they have like an iPad, like an older iPad that just won't upgrade. I know one of my sons has an old iPad that can't get iOS 14, I think, and he's left in the dark for many things in the modern web and native world. So, heading to our next headline, and this is another release. It's not quite here yet. I guess when you're listening to this, if you're listening live, it's not live. If you're listening on the feed, then it has gone live, and that's Redwood JS. It goes 1.0 on April 4th. So
Yes,
you've had your eye on this, KBall, because you were talking
I
about
have.
bringing some Redwood folks back on. I actually haven't heard much about Redwood since our initial show. We had Tom Preston Warner on the show back when he first announced Redwood. I think that was episode 119, and this is episode 220, so 100 episodes ago. Have you heard a lot about it in the interim, or is it just kind of like poking its head back up
I
again?
have I have not. So it doesn't seem to have gotten nearly the level of buzz that, for example, Remix has. And I think part of the reason is it's a little bit further of a step from what people are already doing. So let's maybe do a quick refresh on what Redwood is. So Redwood is a React framework that is kind of trying to do a like Ruby on Rails for front end type of thing. So leaning into things like generators, convention over configuration, trying to do the whole stack for you and make it easy. And they have some abstractions that are interesting and possibly unique that we could, or some of them unique, some of them not, that we could go into. But that's kind of, I think, the idea. I mean, I think TPW was big on Rails earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to recreate that out of the box, things just work for you. It feels simple experience that, to be honest, we don't have very many places in the front end world. Um, and yeah, I don't think it's gotten it is a little bit bigger of a step from where people are because it is a different take. And I haven't heard nearly as much buzz in the web community about it. That said, I mean, they are part of their like announcements. They're talking about all the people using it, the startups that are built on Redwood and are, uh, have raised money based on it, things like that. So it's clearly getting used.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I haven't heard as much buzz. I'm hoping actually that so I think it's really cool. I've missed in the front end world that just like out of the box it just works experience that I remember from the early Ruby on Rails days. Like that was magical when I first started doing that on the server, and if they get it right, it will feel magical to have that again on the front end. I don't know if they've nailed it or not, but I'm hopeful, and I hope this announcement gets them some deserved attention and gets people using it.
So I just listened to the Remix episode. I wasn't on the episode. It sounds like Remix is, and they're calling it Center Stack, which is kind of their
Mm-hmm.
way of saying, well, like we don't want to be thought of as a front end framework, but we don't really have all that much back end stuff yet. It's kind of the way I was reading that from Kent, and it seems like Tom and the gang, they're more like a full stack front end
Yes.
first, but full stack. Like it's a hybridy thing, kind of like Next, but like more full stack even than Next is. And like, is that? Am I reading the
Yeah.
room right?
So I think my take on Remix, and I was digging into this. I'm actually working on a blog post based off of that
Oh,
episode because
nice.
I think it's a really interesting take on things. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Remix is really trying to solve the server side rendering, client side rendering, like uncanny valley when I ship over stuff, but then I have to hydrate it,
Right.
like that whole
Hydrating.
space. Like that's what they've been focused on, and they do some pretty interesting things in terms of their routing to set up themselves up for that, and in terms of how, like, when you navigate, what actually gets rendered. Everything's actually rendered on a server, but it feels like it's client side, and it's only doing the minimum possible set of things. So like they're doing, that's where like their focus is, but they don't have, as far as I could tell, any abstractions at all around how you're storing your data. They have a little bit about how you're loading it, but really only how do you tell the router what needs to be loaded so that it's only doing the minimum possible thing and it's loading things in parallel. Whereas Redwood has a whole kind of abstraction built around, like, how do you package up components with the data they need. Actually, that part's pretty similar to what Remix is doing in terms of specifying the loaders, but then they have a bunch of like opinions about, okay, you're going to do GraphQL and we're going to provide you the things that you need to do that. And we're going to bundle a GraphQL server on the server side so that, you know, it's easy for you to set things up there. And we're going to make it really easy to work with Prisma and have that as an opinion. So it's kind of trying to do like the whole thing of like what you might do with a front end and a node server, and like doing all of those different things, make that super easy front to back. And kind of let you, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they have either client or server side rendering, and they sort of seamlessly do that depending on what state you're in. So yeah, I think they're trying to be full stack in that sense, whereas Remix is trying to say, like, if you had a separated front end and back end before, but your front end was either server side rendered or client side rendered, they're like trying to bridge those two together and make it feel more client side while actually doing things on the server.
Yeah. I think Remix is in an interesting marketing position because, like, on one side they're like we're replacing React Router, but then we're not a React framework. You know, it's like they're like trying not to get pigeonholed too hard. We're front end, but no, we're center stacked. You know, and I think Kent's very wise in the way that he's trying to position this for longevity and success and all that. It's interesting to see how people talk about what they're working on and don't want to get put into a corner, right? And be thought of as
Totally.
a React framework because I don't like React. Not me, Jared, but like anybody who doesn't like React might just dismiss Remix altogether,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to avoid that.
Yeah, I feel like Remix has honestly taken a relatively small but powerful set of concepts and implemented them really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see then, based on that, do they keep building on that same set of abstractions? You know, they're talking about having these like bundles that you can pull in, but those that might not be owned by Remix. Like, it'll be really interesting, as you say, to see their strategy as they evolve. But
Yeah.
they feel much more like they have like three core things that they've gone really deep on and made work really well. Whereas Redwood is like trying to do a whole bunch of stuff for you and make it feel easy to do those things.
Right. Like on the other side, maybe Redwood might get pigeonholed as Rails for JavaScript, but maybe
Might.
that's a good thing.
I mean, Rails Rails is still extremely popular and extremely powerful. I think
Yeah.
if they manage to successfully pull off Rails for JavaScript, they've got a winner.
Mm-hmm. So when can we expect this blog post to go live? What's the status?
Whew, well, so
ETA me.
I was hoping to get it this week or next, but you know, we just did an engineering reorg, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's kept me super busy. But
Gotcha.
I'll try to get a draft for you. I have some time tomorrow to work on it, so I'll try to get a draft for you by sometime next week.
Okay, so maybe by the time you're listening to this, KBall's anticipated blog post might be out there. We're not gonna make any promises here, but
No
Redwood
promises.
JS 1.0 should be out there April 4th. They have a big launch week. We'll link to that, and yeah, expect, not gonna promise, but expect more Redwood content on JS Party here in the coming weeks. Let's move to our last headline, and this one seems this is very interesting. MDN Plus. Make MDN your own. So that's Mozilla Developer Network. At least that's what it used to be called. Is that still what it's called? I think so. And they say in this announcement that it's one of the most trusted resources for information about web standards, code samples, tools, and everything you need as a developer to create websites. I still remember when there was this big push to replace W3 Schools with MDN, and I think we've successfully done that. I find MDN at the top of most searches that I used to find W3 Schools. I'm sure they still rank highly for a few things. But they say in 2015, we explored how we could expand beyond documentation to provide a structured learning experience. Our first foray was the learning area, which I've never heard of myself, with the goal of providing a useful addition to the regular MDN reference and guide material in 2020. We added the first front-end developer learning pathway, which I've also was not aware of. We saw a lot of interest and engagement from users, and the learning area contributed about 10% of MDN's monthly web traffic, which is significant. They go on to say these two initiatives were the start of our exploration into how we could offer more learning resources to the community. Today, we are launching MDN Plus, which, you know, MDN Plus Plus would have been a better name, but use that one. Our first step to providing a personalized and more powerful experience. So basically, they have new features and they have subscriptions. First, your initial responses, then we'll go in a little bit about the plans and like what they're offering. When you hear about this, what do you think?
Huh.
Is this like cool? Is this weird? Exciting? Bad?
I don't know. I hadn't heard of this before you put it out. It hadn't made it across my radar. It feels like they're going after free code camp in some ways. Like, we have
Yeah.
all this web traffic, people trying to learn this. Like, let's put a bunch of tutorials together and things like that. And you know, I love to see innovation in that space, competition in that space. I think, you know, learning, there's more opportunity in the web development world than ever before, and it's one of the, in my mind, it's one of the most, like, it's the best class to get out into a middle class lifestyle, or sorry, the best path to get into a middle class lifestyle that exists today, right? You can learn on your own. You don't have to pay, you don't have to be credentialed. You just have to learn and show you can do the work, and you can get a reasonably paying job or contract opportunity doing web development anywhere in the world. You just need an internet connection and a laptop. Like, that's amazing. And so more ways to help people learn if they're high quality, which MDN historically has been very high quality.
Yes.
Like, that's phenomenal. That's great. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm the target market here. Like, as somebody who's
Sure.
been, like, I've been in the industry almost 20 years at this point. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah. You're
doing
looking
your
for the
average
reference. That's
tutorial
all
right
you need
now.
is the reference guide.
I
Yeah.
just need the reference. But yeah, I mean, if they're doing high quality tutorials, that sounds great. Now, I'm looking at, like, right now it's free, I think, but they
Well,
have,
let me lay out their
yeah.
offering. So, of course, the MDN reference guides are always going to be free, according to what they say. And I think we can take their word on that. Like, they're not paywalling all their reference pages. If that's what people think it is, it's not that. So that I think would be slimy, and I would not be for that. This is additional things. Okay, so there is what they call MDM Core, which is you sign up, it's free, but you have an account, and so it's kind of like test driving deal. And then they have two paid subscriptions: MDM Plus 5 and MDM Supporter 10. So $5 a month or $10 a month. Of course, they have annual plans, blah, blah, blah. And what those get you is additional features that they're building. Like, there's three kind of headline features that they offer as part of this subscription. One's called Collections, where you can basically pick your favorite articles you want to save and get to them quicker. I don't know. It seems like a bookmark also does this feature in your browser. Like Firefox already has this feature called bookmarks, but I don't want to belittle
I
it.
wonder if you can like share collections or things like that. Like this could be an
Possibly
interesting way
like
for like
curation.
teachers or others to do curation. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, the second one's notifications, which I think this is a pretty cool idea. So they say from tutorial pages to API references, you can now get notifications for the latest developments on MDN. When you follow a page, you'll get notified when the documentation changes. CSS features launch, APIs ship. Now you can get a notification for significant events related to the pages you want to follow. I think that's pretty cool, especially if you're like
That
waiting
is
for an
pretty cool.
API to go golden
Yeah.
or whatever official. You don't
Hmm.
have to like check on it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Notifications. And then the third one is offline. So they have this progressive web app that gives you access to MDN web docs, even when you lack internet access. So you can go offline, you can go on an airplane, you can go fast, etc. And so those are kind of like that's the value exchange. But I think also built in here is we saw what happened with Mozilla's last round of layoffs and the shakeup at MDN, right?
Yeah, that's actually where I was starting to think if like
Yeah,
Mozilla has been struggling on the business side.
right. Like
And
if
this
this
is
could provide
another
some revenue,
this provides revenue. It
we're
gives
talking
people who
sustainability.
care about the work that they do a way to directly support them, which is something that like didn't really fully exist. I mean, I guess you could in theory donate to the Mozilla Foundation, but I
Right.
feel like a lot more folks are willing to buy something even if it's only nominal value in the name of supporting than regularly donate.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, it could be a good thing for the whole community. Of course, it's the onus is on them to convince people to sign up and get those memberships going. But
Totally.
I don't know if these I'm also not the target audience, but I'm trying to broadcast my thoughts into a targeted audience. I'm just not sure if these three things provide that much value. But maybe it's
Yeah.
just a
Well,
starting place.
I could see so I to this day pay for a Medium subscription. And I do that specifically because I want to support explorations in other ways to help authors monetize. Not because I actually get enough value out of that Medium subscription
Sure.
that I might pay for just that value. And I actually, as recasting this as a way to support MDN, I might be willing to pay for this pretty much purely for that. And the features are like bonus, maybe, but like
Sure.
they've given me a way to show support and make sure the MDN team is more sustainable. I might do that.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, it's not unlike, our Changelog Plus Plus membership, where it's like we try to provide some value with that, ad-free feed, you get extended episodes, and we have like higher bait rate MP3s. But we realize that actually, like those things probably don't like balance out what you end up paying on the monthly. Like we want to add more to it and make it more valuable, which I'm sure MDN is the same place. Like we love to have more features and more bonuses for people who are our subscribers. But the people that support us with Changelog Plus Plus, they do it because they love our shows and they want to support us. I mean, that's pretty
Totally.
much 201. Maybe there's a few that are like, I really hate ads, and so I pay for it. And that's cool too. But I think that's probably going to be a lot of at least the early subscribers to this are the people that are like, I've gotten lots of value from MDN over the years, and here's $5 a month, right? I appreciate the value. So it'll
Totally.
be
Well, and
interesting to watch.
I think I'm looking at this right now, and they call that out pretty explicitly. So they say, I'm reading it. They say MDN is a part of the daily life of millions of web developers. For many of us, MDN helped us with getting that first job or helped land a promotion. During our research, we found many of these users who felt so much value from MDN that they wanted to contribute financially. We were both delighted and humbled by this feedback. To provide folks with a few options, we're launching MDN Plus, yada yada. So like there is leaning into that. Like people get value from this and they want to support us already. So
Right.
here's a way you can do that.
All right. Those are your headlines. They're all true. These are all real headlines. When we get back from the break, I have some other real headlines. I also have some HeadLIES, and we'll see if KBall can detect which is which right after this. All right. Break.
Cool,
That
cool.
was fun. Good.
That was fun.
Should we head right back in?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. It is now time for the world famous game show. That's a lie. It's called HeadLIES, and unfortunately, our regular jingle guy, Matt Ryer, his head has exploded to the 3 times the size. He's requiring me to send him only the brown M&Ms, fees out the wazoo, no royalty free anymore. So I had to create my own jingle. I apologize in advance. Here it goes. Headliner, headline, you gotta decide. Headliner, headline, give it a try. Headliner, headline, guess what's inside. Headliner, headline, I'm out of words that rhyme. Thank you, thank you.
All right.
You get what you pay for around here.
I was going to
And
say,
that's-
how big are those royalties?
Yeah, exactly. We'll have Matt rewrite it. We'll just splice in a better one later. If you want better music than that, changelog plus plus. Oh, goodness. Okay, here's how this game works. I have gathered a bunch of real headlines, as well as the first paragraph of the story. Okay? Then I've also generated some fake ones. I've written both the headline and the first paragraph of a fake story. I will give you the headline, at which point you can guess whether it's true or a lie. Okay? If correct, you get 2 points. If incorrect, I get 2 points. Okay? It's me versus you. Now,
Okay.
if you want more information, you can request the paragraph, at which point I will read you the first paragraph. Then you can guess, but it's only 1 point. Okay? So you
And
get
if
your
I
point
get it
opportunity.
wrong, how many points do you get? in
I
that
get
case?
1. So it's still even. So you're just lowering the stakes with more information, basically.
Got it. So I lower the
There's
stakes with more information. Okay.
There are 10 rounds. At the end of 10 rounds, we'll see who has the most points.
Okay. Gotta come into this with a strategy here. I
Okay.
feel like, generally speaking, unless I'm confident, I want to lower the stakes.
Okay. That's a good strategy.
I am a risk reduction type of fellow. That engineering mindset right there.
Okay. Well, we'll give you the first one. We'll see how you feel. And we'll go from there. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay. Man says he hacked airline website to find lost luggage. Would you like to guess or hear more?
Man says he hacked airline website to find lost luggage.
That's right.
So I'm going to outline my thinking here.
Okay, let's hear what you're thinking.
On the one hand, I see no way that a man could actually do that. On the other hand, you just said man says that, and people will claim all sorts of crazy stuff.
So you're on the fence then.
I'm on the fence, so I'm going to ask for more information.
All right, here's the story. A 28-year-old software engineer called Indigo, which is a low-cost carrier, for help after realizing that he had swapped his bag with a co-passenger. But after Indigo refused to help him trace the other person, the man was able to retrieve information about him from the airline website. So he tracked the guy himself.
I'm going to say HeadLIES. That's a lie.
Drum roll, please. Hold on, I'm seeing if I have a drum roll sound. Here we go. Incorrect. That's a true story.
Holy smokes. Okay, now, so Indigo's website was so bad he was able to hack it and figure out who the other. Wow.
Yes,
That's
this is
impressive.
according to BBC.com. I'll link up the stories for folks to go read the true story, the rest of the story. But yeah, that really happened. Now he is just claiming, and I think they're claiming he did nefarious things. He said actually the information was kind of publicly available. Reminds me of that HTML
Yeah.
politics story from a few months back. I can't remember the details there, but
I
he
was
said there's no
like-
actual hacking. He just got the information because their website's so bad.
I struggle to believe that that was possible, but once again, he's just claiming it. So I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
So
All right.
this is setting my priors. I'm gonna have a pretty bad over under here.
All right. So after one round, the score is Jerod 1, K-Ball 0. Are you ready for your next headline?
If I get swept, is there anything particularly bad?
Yeah, you can't be on the show anymore. You're just off.
Okay, so
All right. Next headline.
with that as my outcome, I'm gonna just start flipping a coin here.
It is a 50-50 chance.
Exactly.
Blockchain.com raises new funding at $14 billion valuation. Would you like to guess for 2, or would you like to hear more?
Do I have any knowledge about the timeline of these headlines? Were these gathered in the last, month, or could they be going back indefinitely?
So I gathered them today. That doesn't mean they were all written today, but I will say they're all pretty recent. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say a lie for 2 reasons. Here's what I'm thinking. So number
Okay.
1, I've already guessed a lie, and you said there's a distribution. So I'm giving
So you're
myself
playing the numbers game. You're counting
playing
cards.
the numbers game a little bit.
Okay.
But then the other one is we have been in a bear market on crypto and others. Like there was huge amounts of hype last year,
Right.
late into the last year, but pretty much this whole year it's been going the wrong direction. And so if these are likely to be relatively recent, I like my odds for this being a lie.
Okay. Drum roll, please. Incorrect. It's 100% true.
Oh, I'm doing swimmingly here. Okay.
So I actually, the reason why I included this is because it also surprised me for the exact same logic. I'm like, how are they raising $14 billion valuation? This was just March 30th was this article, so yesterday.
There's always a bigger sucker, I guess. And anytime that I think I have too low of an opinion of folks, I'm wrong, and they could actually be worse.
So the full first paragraph is startupblockchain.com said it raised new funding that values the company at about 14 billion, more than doubling its worth, and a sign that cryptocurrency firms still enjoy the favor of investors in turbulent venture capital markets. And that is off of bloomberg.com. So after 2 rounds, the score is Jerod 3, K-Ball 0. I'm having a great time. I hope you are as well. Okay. Headline number 3. There's 10 of these, by the way. We're 3/10 or 30% for those who are good at math of the way there.
The pain will
Next
continue
headline.
until morale improves.
Leaked Apple memo describes the company's plan to go fully remote by 2025.
Oh, that's 100% false. There is no way that Apple, in particular, having put as much money into real estate as they have, is going to go fully remote.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Drum roll, please. Ding, 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 ding. He got one.
Okay. Whew.
Were you nervous, though?
Um,
Just a little bit. Just because you've been wrong.
just a little bit. Also, I live in the Bay Area. I have seen the crazy things they do for their real estate. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, they just dropped a lot of coin on that new spaceship campus.
Totally.
Do you want to hear the fake paragraph I wrote about it?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. The Verge. Sorry. A lot of coughs that the editors are going to take care of. The Verge has obtained an internal email from Apple CEO Tim Cook in which he reacts to numerous complaints from Apple employees about the Cupertino-based organization's return to office strategy. Cook urges people to be patient and says that plans are underway to take the company remote as soon as it makes sense. I feel like that's a pretty good description by me. Okay, next one. Good job. It's now Jerod 3, K-Ball 2. So we got a game. Woman arrested for car theft drove another stolen car to court appearance, according to Dublin police.
That is so delightful. It appeals to so many things that even if I'm wrong, I'm going to have to go true. That is delightful.
Final answer?
Final answer.
It's true. Good one.
I love it. Let's hear the full story though, because that's great.
A woman was scheduled to make a court appearance on Monday in Dublin after being arrested for stealing a car. How did she get to said court appearance? The 41-year-old woman, identified as, I'll leave her name out, used another stolen car to get to said court appearance, Dublin police announced on Wednesday. So kind of just repeats the story. But yeah, she stole a car to go to court about a stolen car. So after 4 rounds, you've now taken the lead. Jerod 3, KBall 4. You're redeeming yourself here. Okay. Headline
And
5.
clearly going with my gut rather than asking for more information is working out better here.
Yeah. You're. I feel like Nick wanted more information more than you do. You're just going after it. So we'll see if your strategy
This is
pays off.
contrary to my stated strategy at the beginning, but I'm gonna draw from the anecdotes of 4 and call that data and keep leaning into this.
There we go. Headline 5. First patient to communicate via brain implant asks to hear Radiohead album.
That's delightful, but I think it's false.
Final answer?
Yeah.
It's false. Now, here's the kicker, though. So 2 points for you. You now have 6. I have 3. You're soundly beating me, which I'm not appreciating. 90% of this headline is true. I just changed the band. He actually wanted to hear Tool.
Nice.
In the first study of its kind, scientists were able to communicate with a late-stage ALS patient using a brain implant and neural signals. Among the few requests he painstakingly communicated was a desire to listen to a Tool album, and loudly.
I love it. It's even more delightful that there is truth in the lie.
Yeah, exactly. I just changed it to Radiohead. Okay, well, now you are doubling me in points here. Let's see if we can get back on track. Headline 6. Exxon is mining Bitcoin in North Dakota as part of its plan to slash emissions.
Oh dear. I really I want this to be a real article, but I'm gonna say false again. Actually, no, it is just wild enough. It's crypto wild.
You want to hear more? You want to hear the? You're on the fence. You want to hear more?
Okay, yes, I'll listen for more.
For over a year, Exxon has been working with Crusoe Energy Systems, a company based in Denver, said the people who asked not to be named because details of the project are confidential. Crusoe's technology helps oil companies turn wasted energy or flare gas into a useful resource. For 1 point now.
I think this is one of those where they're doing something like that, but it being for crypto is just too like perfect, and I
too
think
juicy.
he's up to that. So I'm going to say false.
Okay. I'm back, baby. That one's true.
That's amazing. Oh, there are so many people getting scammed by this crypto thing.
All right.
Amazing.
K-Ball has 6. Jerod has 4. We have 4 headlines left.
All right.
Number 7. Research shows TikTok videos contribute to a rise in cases of girls with tics. You want me to say it again?
I'm going to go with false. I think I saw the same study, but it's not tics.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Oh, all right.
Same
Well,
study, but it was
what fun
tics.
would it be if we're not close?
So this is tics like TICS, not.
No,
don't
I
if you're
know, but I
thinking-
feel like I
okay.
saw it and it was related to like depression or.
It's actually
anxiety or something
Tourette's.
like that.
So there's Tourette videos. There's one girl in particular. I saw a lot of her videos where she's like sharing her experience with Tourette's and she has tics and stuff. I'm sure there's plenty others. It says Tourette videos posted on the platform continue to draw many viewers, and doctors say teen girls keep showing up at their offices with functional neurological issues. So kind of a sad thing. That's a strange side effect.
That's
Or
interesting. I wonder. So I wonder if it's actually leading to a rise in it, or it's leading to people recognizing it and going to see a doctor when they otherwise wouldn't.
yeah, potentially. I don't know.
Because I struggle to see what the mechanism would be for that, right? Like Tourette's is like
It's a neurological
it's
thing.
a
I don't know if it's like
neurological thing. It doesn't feel like something that's going to be amenable to peer pressure or something. But if like
right
you've
or
had some
contagion.
weird
You know.
thing going on with you and you see this person describing it, you might say, "Oh, maybe this is something I could get treated. Like this is actually a thing."
Right. Yeah, potentially. By the way, we will link up. That's off of Wall Street Journal, so we'll link up all these for people that want to dig into the more details. This is just the first paragraph. But with that wrong answer, now it ties the game at 6-6.
Okay.
If for nothing
I
else, we
was
are at least
thinking that
making it
if I
interesting.
managed to win that, I would be in a winning position and I could win just by driving everything to 1 point. But now I have to really make
You're too
decisions.
strategic, but your strategy failed by getting that one wrong. All right, number 8. Mark Zuckerberg says it's reasonable that the metaverse isn't a place but a feeling. Sorry. I'm not laughing because of the headline. I'm laughing because of your response to the headline. So don't try to read my face. It's not working.
No, no. It's, oh, oh, Zuckerberg. Oh,
Do you want me to repeat
Zuckerberg.
that?
No, I don't need a repetition. I'm just trying to.
Do you want to lower the
I feel
stakes to
like
1?
I feel like he has too much command of the message to actually do that. So I'm going to say false.
Final answer.
Yeah.
You are correct. It is not true. Darn it.
Have I told you my weird Zuckerberg connection? Actually, I have
No, you
two
haven't.
weird Zuckerberg connections.
I want to hear them.
One, a startup that I worked at early in my career called Causes was co-founded by Sean Parker and Joe Green. Joe Green
Okay.
being Zuckerberg's freshman roommate. And we had connections into Facebook, and we actually leaned heavily into the Facebook viral crack when they first launched. We developed what was for a very long time the largest non-game application on the Facebook platform. Anyway, so I had that weird connection. But then later weird connection is my wife's family is Jewish, and we don't practice very much, but we do go to synagogue for Yom Kippur. And it turns out that the synagogue that her parents belong to that we go to for Yom Kippur is the same synagogue that Zuckerberg goes to. So like a couple years in a row, we would kind of creep in for the end of we would go for the end of services, basically the end of Yom Kippur as they're closing the heavens and doing all the different pieces. There were people who are more observant will be there all day for services, but we'll just go towards the end. We would sneak in there, and Zuckerberg 2 years in a row, Zuckerberg snuck in at about the same time, and it was within a row of us, and we're just sitting here and be like, this holiday's about repenting. I hope you're repentant, fella.
That's interesting. You're quite you and Zuck are quite close. It seems almost friends.
Apparently so. It's like that whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. In this case, I guess it's 2 degrees of Zuck.
Yeah, there you go. 2 degrees of Zuck. So this one was almost true. I just changed what he said. So he did say that the metaverse isn't a place but a point in time. I changed it to a feeling. He said that on the Lex Friedman podcast. So he was saying stuff, but just saying something different. So with that, you take the lead.
When you said that, my head just started saying "hooked on a feeling."
Yeah, there you go.
And I couldn't imagine him saying it.
No, you'd sing it like hooked on a feeling. I was trying to do a robot. And I just stopped. I just stopped midway. I'm like, no, Jared, don't do the robot thing. You're terrible. I wish I would be better at being robotic, but I'm just such a human. Okay, lost my tab. Here it is. Well, you're up 6-8, so you could slow ball it and force me only into a tie if you're going to play the meta game, because there's only 2 left. So you can go 1-1, and the best I can do is tie. But you could also be boring to do that. So I won't tell you what to do. Number 9, Google search's new highly suspect label helps you question the source of a story. So Google search has added a new label, highly suspect, helps you question the source of a story.
Interesting. I know they've been doing work around that. That said, so I heard a rumor that Nick Nisi lost. And so if I force to a tie at worst,
Yes.
I have beaten Nick, which is the same as a victory for me. So I'm going to ask for more details.
100% agree. Okay, more details. This is wise. This is very wise. Because if you can't beat me, you might as well beat Nick Nisi. That's
I mean,
strategy.
yeah.
Google's adding a new highly suspect label to search results, infrequently sourced by other publications, the company's announcing today. Anything from local news stories, interviews, announcements, and even press releases will be eligible for the new label being added to the search results preview image in the case that 0 or very few websites are linking to it.
I'm going to go with false, and here's why. I think the description as stated, which is about 0 things linking to that article, biases against real time. And I know that one of the big areas that they're trying to think about here is actually real time and how you support things. So I suspect that they're doing something similar or like this, but that algorithm rings false to me. So I'm going to say false.
Well played. It is false. So it's almost true, but I changed the label. So they have a new label. It's called highly cited. So I just inverted it. They have a new highly cited label, which helps you know that a source is highly cited.
Is trustworthy. That makes a
so
ton
if
of
it
sense.
has more links to it, then it's highly cited. So like, hey, these other people are citing this. I just changed it from highly cited to highly suspect to falsehood that. But you drilled it. So another 2 for you. Or
Just
sorry,
one.
another 1
Just
for
one.
you. Yep, just 1.
But that's good enough. Victory is mine, Jerod.
This is true. Which makes this last one purely for funsies. Yes, you have 9 points. I have 6. There's nothing I can do to catch you. But I can catch you with a wrong answer on number 10, which is as Docker gains momentum, it hauls in $105 million Series C on a $2 billion valuation.
That is either old or false, because I think they've, and I don't remember. It's either old or false. They're bigger than that at this point, I think. So I'm gonna say false, and go with that. And I don't need to go deeper because.
Gotcha. That is true.
All right.
And recent, as of today, actually. They just announced it today.
Oh, I could have sworn they were already at least Series C. But
well, it says
it
that
doesn't matter.
final score: Jerod 8, KBall 9. It's hard to even utter the words, but you, sir, are the HeadLIES champion.
Excellent.
Congratulations. Would you
I
have any
will
final
endeavor
words?
to do very little evil with this. Does this mean I get to host next time?
Sure. I would love
All
to
right.
play. I've never been able to play before. I always come up with the game.
All right.
See, I
so
thought
as,
it would be
as
cool.
champion, I will give this gift to you. In a future
Okay.
date, I will host HeadLIES.
See, I thought it would be cool if we had multiple people playing. So, like, you could have, like, each person guesses what they think it is, and then they have, like, a running score. But it's always just been on a show where it's just the two of us, me and you.
Well, we'll see what happens, but I'll do that for a future episode.
All right, very cool. Well, that is our show for this week. I guess happy April Fool's Day for those who celebrate, myself excluded. If you enjoyed this, let us know. If you think HeadLIES is the worst show I've ever come up with, keep that to yourself, you know? But if you like it, definitely let us know. For KBall, I'm Jerod, and this has been JS Party. I guess we'll just talk to everybody next week. Now you can hear the music.
Now I can hear the music. Yeah, I was just sitting in silence the last time, or at the beginning.
It's, you know, you wouldn't believe how many people have done that. It's like everybody.
Oh, I would, because I have done that.
Yeah. Amel has done it. Now I have done it. I think over on Go Time, I know Angelica did it once, and I think Chris did it as well. It's a bad UI. Like, why would you start in preview mode? Because I can hear it. I assume it's working. I don't remember to click live. It's start in live, and then you could be able to toggle it off or something. I don't know.
Yep.
So I have to
Cool.
submit
Well,
yet
thank you, man. This
another-
was fun. I'm actually gonna catch another meeting as it is. But yes, that's my life these days. Lots of meetings. It's not all of my life, but it is a lot of my life as an engineering manager.
I get it, man. I get it. Most of my life is coming up with fake headlines for starting.
It's a fun game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
All right.